Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to go over the trades that we took today inside the Discord, as well as the game plan going into tomorrow. So, again, for the people that are new, this 30-minute chart right here tells me the trend in the market. So, since we're on the calls right here, the 6:35 calls for this Friday, since they're crossed, that means the market's trending bullish, and I'm only focused on taking trades to the long side. I'm only, since we're trending bullish, why would we be shorting? So, I'm just looking for setups to go long, and yeah, that's what happened today. You can see we ended up flipping bullish, like I said yesterday, and we got a continuation move higher today. I'll show you how you could have played it, but again, going base back to like the monthly contracts here, you can see what the higher time frame trend is. The monthly trend here, you can see where we've been bullish on the monthlies for a while, and then once that 30-minute crosses, that means that's pretty much confirming the bigger time frame trend, and then we get the continuation move up. So since we got that 30-minute cross today, or yesterday I think it was, and then we got to move higher. So we use this chart right here, the weeklies, the nearest Friday expiration, as our weekly trend, and then we use the monthlies as our monthly. Obviously it just makes sense, the monthly trend, weekly trend. So daily chart for the monthly chart, and then the 30-minute chart for the Friday contracts for the weeklies. So bigger picture trend, and then the smaller time frame trend right here. So and then obviously we go down to the 0DT charts, and that's the intraday trend. So we have three trends that we kind of watch. We watch for the intraday trend, weekly trend, and then the monthly trend. It's very simple. When all of these three things are in line with each other and we take a trade, when all three are in confluence, that's like a perfect setup. So when we look here now on the 0DT charts, the 5-minute here, on the weeklies, or not the weeklies, for the 5-minute chart, it was definitely not easy action today. I don't know what it for futures recently on SPY. The charts just haven't been great. I've barely been trading options barely been trading futures the last couple weeks. Very minimal trades for me. I took one I think yesterday, and then I took one today. So pretty simple here. Off of, where did we open at? I don't even know where we opened at. 635s for, this is actually the wrong contract. I think it's this one. Nope. Okay, I had the wrong contract pulled up. Okay, no, these were the right contracts. I don't know why I thought it was the 35s, but yeah, so if you look here on the 0DT chart, this is what we had. So right off of open, you could see we ended up breaking below the 50, and then there was some news at 9:45. We got back above the 10, the 50, and at this point, I'm like, okay, this looks pretty good to go long. 30 minutes crossed. The bulls got back above the 10, the 50. And I grabbed some long on this next candle right here, or one of these. Yeah, after this candle closed, I think I went long, and there really wasn't much upside on this. I mean, we ended up getting a little push, and then it came right back down. I didn't close this until we started to break below the 50, so I held it right here. I thought we were gonna, we got back by the 10 and the 50 again, but the 10 again, it looked a little funky. I felt like that. Waiting until after 10 a.m. is the best way to go, but even at that point, I probably would have taken an entry on this candle close because it did look pretty good. I forget what the 10 SMA looked like on that open, but yeah, I ended up taking a loss. It was probably 40 points in NQ is what I took it at, and I stopped out. Is what it is. Not gonna win every trade, but yeah, we closed below the 50, stopped out. There's no point to hold the trade from there, and then this ended up recrossing, and again, this initial cross really didn't net any moves, and then it went negative, and then we just chopped around up in here. So it's been really choppy on SPY, and there's definitely been a lot of better opportunity elsewhere, and that's why I've been trading a lot more individual stocks, because I'm not gonna really try and waste my time when I know that the action on SPY hasn't been the best. Even though we're trending, sometimes the market just doesn't give the best trades, just how it is sometimes. And when we get like this, it's just better to size less on the trades and also look for other opportunities on individual stocks. That's why I have an options account too. So I'm not really glued to taking a trade on only SPY, and when I know it's not been the best, then I flip over to options and try and find a better setup over there. So again, your two opportunities today would have been buying this reclaim and then buying this cross. Both of them honestly probably didn't work out. I know Colton grabbed some long. I forget exactly where, and he caught 60s, 70 points, I think even 80 points on longs today. I'm not exactly sure where he entered. I'd have to pull the Discord real quick. I'll check to see when he entered, but yeah, he was long at 1021. So he actually bought down in here. I mean, honestly, the 50 was still trending up and the 30-minute was crossed. I think that's what he was kind of going off of, that, you know, the 30-minute is still trending, and, you know, that 50 was still trending up, so we never really curled down on it to go neutral. So I think he was just taking a stab at, since the higher time frame trend was trending on the 30-minute, chances are this is going to go back up and cross, and he ended up getting a nice move out of it. I don't usually take trades like that. You know, I kind of just play the crosses and the reclaims and things like that. But yeah, that's what I did today. That's what Colin did today. So he caught a 85-point winner, and then I took the loss, of course. So I feel like every trade I've been giving out has just been terrible. But, you know, it is what it is. That's what I did today. That's what Colin did today. You know, obviously if you took his trade, you end up banking. If you took my trade, you end up getting cooked. So it is what it is. Going into tomorrow, market is still bullish. So what are we going to be looking for? Call cross and 50 dip on the calls. Also, if we do get a drop tomorrow, I'll be looking for a negative cross on puts if the puts end up crossing, because as long as that 30-minute chart is still crossed on this chart right here, if I pull it up real quick, as long as this chart holds this 50 SMA right here, I am looking to only be playing longs. We're actually going to get new contracts tomorrow. So we're probably, you know, above the 50 SMA a little bit more than these ones, because we're going to be using next week, since tomorrow's Friday. These ones would be 0DT contracts, and we're not going to be using these for Friday, obviously. Every week, every Friday we update them, every Monday we update them. Those are the 2 days you update the weekly contracts for SPY. So we're probably sitting, like I said, a little bit higher above the 50 on those. But yeah, if for some reason puts cross tomorrow and we're still holding this 50 SMA area, look for the negative cross on puts, because we know the trend's bullish, and if we get that negative cross, that confirms we're going to bounce off the 50. And if we just break through the 50 and go negative, then you know, I'd be open to taking the put cross, but that's only if we like break the 30-minute 50. So that's the game plan for tomorrow. Some individual stocks that I took that I'm watching going into tomorrow. So first one is MSFT, Microsoft. It's a good looking chart. These are going to be next week's contracts. Again, like I said, we update them every Friday and Monday. So right now, not a trade to take, because you can see this 50 SMA, it sloped down. You have to wait for it to curl up to take a trade. It did curl a little bit right here, but it was still a little bit iffy. So I didn't take an entry. There's no point to really rush the trade. Wait for the 50 to curl up nicely to get an entry. And right now, it's currently pointed down. And if we look at the daily chart real quick, or the monthly chart, to see the higher time frame trend, actually, real quick, AMD, this is a decent looking one. The 50 is in between flat and curling up, so again, watch for this to curl. AMD and Microsoft are pretty much identical setups, because if we go to the monthly contracts really quick, you could see on the daily chart we have, it's very nice. I mean, look at this chart. This is why, like, you're able to hold for multiple days and catch really big moves, because like I said, the only time, like the times you're gonna be playing these like crosses on this chart right here are going to be on the 50 dip you buy. On the initial cross, I like to pair that up with a 30-minute cross on the weekly. So, you know, I'm not just buying the cross on the daily chart here. I'm waiting for the 30-minute to give an entry. And then once we get a nice move and then it pulls back to this 50, you could buy this 50 dip, or you could wait for the 30-minute to cross again. Those are like your two options. So if you buy this dip, you could see, like, once we start to get initial bounce, like, I would not be interested in selling at all until we get a really explosive move, because, you know, the risk to reward on these trades are through the roof. Because you can see, okay, you buy this near the 50. Let's say you got a bad fill and you're in at like 1.5. Okay, your stop loss below the 50 would be at like probably like $1 to who knows what, like 0.90 on the contracts. That's if you got a bad entry point, and then you can see what happens. These ran all the way up to 860. The stop loss seems like it's a lot, but when we get a move like this after this explosive move on the daily chart, you know, realistically, you're holding this until this day right here, because there has been no explosive move. You can see we bounce off the 50. Once we get back above that 10 SMA, that's pretty much confirming that we're just starting the bounce. Like, we're just getting that bounce off the 50, and most likely this is going to go higher. Once this 10 SMA curled up, though, that's pretty much when you're like, okay, this is like really going to go in my favor, most likely, because everything's aligned. We have the 50 SMAs up, the 10's up, we reclaim the 10 SMA, and look at the move. Like, that's how you have to kind of approach these types of trades. I'm looking to get a really big move out of these contracts. At least 100% is what I'd say, depending on the contracts you grab. So, you know, these contracts went like 800%. The closer expirations probably went even more. So if you're buying this 50 dip, I always go with like the couple weeks out, usually like 3 to 4 weeks out when you buy this 50 dip, because it could take some time. Like I went over Nike in the last video where that did take a few days to play out, but I caught like 200%. I did roll them, but initially like 40%. If you kept the monthlies, you were probably up like over 100%. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense. Like when we're playing these daily crosses on the monthly chart, this is the like bigger picture trend. I'm not selling on the initial bounce. It doesn't make sense to when we know like these are the types of moves that it gives. So kind of want that to nail in your head, where it just like you have to hold. Like I'm just like that's how these setups are. You gotta hold for these bigger moves, because if you don't, like in my opinion, you're missing out on the move. Like yeah, we bounced like 1.5 all the way up to 347. That's a great move. But for me, based on this chart right here, if you're looking at it, it's like, okay, we really didn't move that much. Like we really didn't. We bounced 100%, but we just got back above the 10 SMA, and it's not like we have a massive candle above the 10 like this one. Like if you ignored these two candles and then it was this candle, then I would be okay, start selling. I'd be out most of the position because we're up like a couple 100%. That's where, you know, it would make sense to sell. On these little bounces, it like in terms of percentage, yeah, it's a good amount, but in terms of the chart, I mean, I would be holding this. So hopefully that makes sense with you guys. And AMD, really good. Microsoft, it's like the same exact setup. You can see we pulled back to the 50, didn't hit it exactly. Again, we're not always going to hit the 50 dip exactly to a T, so you could scale in when we get close. Like here, I wouldn't have bought this dip personally. I would just wait for the 30-minute chart to cross. So again, since we didn't really hit the 50 all the way, I would wait for that 30-minute chart on Microsoft and AMD to curl up on the for the 50 SMA to take an entry point. So these are really good setups. We got back by the 10 SMA here on Microsoft. Well, we're gonna have to see how we open it and see if that 50 SMA can curl. If we look at last one here, Apple. This is one that, you know, it's gonna be looking for in the future here. If this daily chart could cross on the monthlies, which I feel like eventually it will, but we'll have to see how that goes, because again, Apple sold off a lot the last like couple weeks. And we're finally starting to get some sort of bounce on it. Compared to like the other stocks and compared to the market, it's been pretty weak. So if this could finally get a move higher and this daily chart crosses, I'll definitely be keeping an eye on this one. So what I'm looking for on Apple to take an entry is, one, break above this daily 50 SMA and look for it to cross. I'm not going to take the trade on the initial cross here. What I'm going to do is wait for the 30-minute chart to cross on the weeklies. So right now we're looking at the monthly contracts. It's the August 15th ones for now. Eventually we'll be rolling out to September, the week before these contracts expire. That's how it works with picking the monthlies. So the week before, on the Monday, you're going to be switching the contracts to the next month out for the monthlies. So again, these are the monthlies. Wait for this chart to cross on the daily, and then go back to the nearest Friday contract, the weeklies, and then look for the 30-minute chart to cross, take an entry point. It's very simple. Like, that's our confirmation. You can see how many times we rejected this daily 50. 1, 2, 3, 4, almost 5, 6, 7, 8. This is the like 9th time we've hit the 50 pretty much. So eventually it's gonna break, and if it doesn't break, cool. There's no entry point. So, you know, that's a good thing about the system. You know, there's certain criteria that we have to watch for to take a trade. And, you know, if we don't get it, we don't get it. Like if we break this big resistance point and the 30-minute chart crosses, we're really gonna have a good probability of going higher. That's what trading's all about, game of probability. When my 30-minute chart is crossed on the weeklies and the dailies crossed on the monthlies, the probability is like heavily in my favor, because we know the monthly trend is flipping and the weekly trend is in our favor. So I mean, it's the greatest way to trade, in my opinion. So longer video, yap session, but hopefully you guys learned something. If you guys did enjoy, drop a sub. If you're new, join the Discord if you want to learn. But that's all I got. I'm out. Peace.